Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
You just see it almost all too often. It's almost getting to be the norm, which is very concerning because of the issues that go along with it, distracted driving.
If you talk on the phone while driving, this is for you. A new Minnesota bill could outlaw handling your cell phone while on the road.
The idea comes on the heels of a startling new statistic. 1 in 4 Minnesota crashes are the result of distracted driving. Some lawmakers are asking, will this really help?
Studies show talking on the phone, even hands-free, can be a distraction for drivers. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer has more on what you need to know the next time you decide to pick up your phone and call a friend while on the road.
Hello? The days of talking on your phone while driving in Minnesota could be in the rearview mirror. Minnesota could be joining a list of 15 other states that restrict drivers from handling their cell phones.
I don't think it's as distracting as texting, but I do think it is distracting in some cases because I actually I hope my mom doesn't see this, but I ran a red light when I was driving with her because I was talking on the phone.
And a Minnesota lawmaker agrees. Paul Marquardt tells us he thinks handling your phone while driving is distracting, but he says he's wondering if putting the phone down really takes away that distraction.
I think the bottom line is your focus on driving. And I don't think whether or not you have one hand on a phone or no hands on a phone, I don't know if that impacts your focus on driving.
And according to the research we could find, he's not far from wrong. A study found driving while intoxicated was actually less dangerous than driving while talking on a handheld or hands-free phone. And a Minnesota State Patrol sergeant who has been in the business for 2 decades says any distraction that takes away your focus from the road is dangerous.
When you're operating a motorized vehicle, that is your number one concern, is to be responsible for the vehicle that you're operating and to pay attention with anything and everything that's going around you.
Now, there would be some exceptions to this bill. Handling your phone to call 911 or other emergency calls would still be allowed. But if you're just catching up with an old friend, you would face a $50 fine for the first offense. And if it happens again, you would be out $225. In Moorhead, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Under this bill, drivers could still use features on their phones that can be done in hands-free mode or do anything that only requires a single touch of a button, like answering a phone call. The proposal was approved by the House Public Safety Committee with no objections and will be making its way through the Senate next.
Looked pretty out there this morning, although who wants to see snow on the first day of spring? Let's find out from Hutch about tonight's weather.
Yes, minor features in our weather as we head through the day. Here's how many of us did start with an inch or so on the ground. Numerous reports of that across the region. 1.2 here in Fargo and Moorhead also in that same ballpark. We had a couple of reports of 2 inches of snow in Buxton and Lidgerwood as this system worked its way through. And heading into the evening tonight, we have a band along the international border moving into Towner County shortly and some light snow pushing into Grand Forks this evening. All of this should be fairly light. That band along the international border has a best chance of producing some measurable snow, but only measuring in tenths of an inch. Temperatures will be fairly steady this evening in the low 30s, eventually dipping into the upper 20s for late tonight. Well, we are in spring. The first full day of spring promises some subtly warmer temperatures. I'll have details on a little warm up and a storm system ahead for the weekend. All that here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch. And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so you can keep up with the springtime weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecasts and conditions so you can plan your spring day. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free.
A North Dakota man will serve 16 years in prison, federal prison, for his role in a drug conspiracy that led to a fatal shooting in Grand Forks. 39-year-old Ryan Franklin of Grand Forks was sentenced in federal court for conspiracy to distribute meth. According to trial testimony, Franklin and others brought drugs from the Twin Cities area to the Red River Valley for distribution. This case came to the attention of law enforcement after the shooting death of 24-year-old Austin Forsman at the Flying J truck stop in Grand Forks in March of 2016. The murder investigation resulted in the unraveling of a large meth trafficking ring operating in the Red River Valley, and 12 other people were charged in federal court. Prosecutors say Modesto Torres was the leader of the operation and ordered the murder of Forsman. He was sentenced to serve 2 life prison terms in December. Crystal Feist of Grand Forks was convicted for shooting and killing Forsman and was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison back in October.
Police need your help in identifying people who they believe put graffiti on a number of properties over the weekend. A large amount of graffiti incidents occurred on Saturday and Sunday between 8 and 10:30 p.m. in the area of Village West and a park just south of West Acres.
Have you seen graffiti like that here before?
I've never seen graffiti before. I've lived here, like I said, for 22 years, and I just was really surprised to see it.
Investigators say the images appear to be juvenile in nature and are not gang-related. The suspects are described as males, approximately 11 to 14 years of age. They were wearing dark hoodies. And if you have any information, call Fargo Police's tip line at 701-241-5777.
A fire late last night that sent a woman to the hospital is being ruled arson by the state fire marshal. Officials say the homeowner of 1924 29th Street Circle South called 911 last night to report that her house was on fire. The homeowner was the only person in the home at the time and sustained non-life-threatening injuries. The Moorhead Fire Department was able to put the fire out, and the woman was taken to Sanford Medical Center for treatment. The criminal investigation is still ongoing.
A sprinkler did its job and put out a fire at the Fargo Dome late last night. The fire started in a dryer in a storage area on the lower level. That sprinkler head activated and, just like it's supposed to, put out the flames. There was an estimated $3,000 worth of damage. No word on the cause.
3 people are in jail after officers found 21 grams of heroin at the elderly apartment in Red Bee, Minnesota. Over the weekend, the Red Lake Drug Task Force executed a search warrant and found heroin, marijuana, syringes, foil, and glass pipes. Officers also found cash and confiscated a vehicle, and they say a child was present. 45-year-old Owens Abrams and 36-year-old Esther Sayers were both charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance, child endangerment, possession of drug paraphernalia, and a liquor violation. 43-year-old Delora Eisman was charged with obstructing legal process and public nuisance.
A North Dakota man is dead after being hit by a truck. Investigators say 60-year-old William St. Clair of Parshall was driving in Towner, North Dakota around 7 o'clock last night when something fell off his passenger seat. As he swerved, he hit 77-year-old Tom Miller, who was walking down Main Street. Miller later died at the hospital.
A Minnesota woman is recovering from injuries after she and a child were involved in a rollover crash in Otter Tail County, Minnesota. It happened this morning around 7:40 a.m. near Perham. 27-year-old Grace Jensen of New York Mills was heading east on Highway 10 between Perham and New York Mills when her vehicle spun out on the ice and snow, entered the median, and rolled. Jensen was taken to Perham Memorial Hospital to be treated for injuries that were described as not life-threatening. A child in the back was secured properly in a car seat and was not hurt.
A Minneapolis police officer who shot and killed an unarmed Australian woman in July of last year is in jail tonight. Officer Mohammed Noor turned himself in after a warrant was issued for his arrest. He's facing charges of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. He shot Justine Desmond minutes after she called 911 to report a possible sexual assault in the alley behind her home. Her death drew international attention, cost the police chief her job, and forced major revisions to the department's policy on body cameras. The second-degree manslaughter charge carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Bail was set at $500,000.
A section of Interstate 94 was shut down for hours while crews cleaned up the mess caused when a semi struck a bridge. We'll have details later on Valley News Live at 6.
Up next, 22 million reasons why a Minnesota brother and sister are getting along just fine.